This quote, "Telling a story makes sense to me. It allows for a benevolent relationship to the world. I don't want to tell the story that I seem to be telling. I want to tell you the understory, the non-story." Myra Coleman. This is crucial to understanding how VR and AR and MR might work on its audience, this understory. We need to leapfrog our ideation into a future that may not be entirely possible to implement yet, but one that we can easily imagine. We're already seeing serious mistakes being made because investors became so enamored with the technology that they forgot to fund the development of content that would actually preempt, push, and partner with technology so that they advance together in lockstep. There is no longer a master story or a directed story that throws all of our attention on a single framed narrative pared down to its central importance. Instead, there's a need and an opportunity for 100 or 1,000 layered non-stories, each allowing the participant to build a relationship to the entire world space. In this way, VR opens the door to completely new storytelling capabilities. The essential shift for anyone developing narratives for these new MR media and platforms is to let go of their preconceived ideas about other storytelling and entertainment media. It helps nothing to talk about VR as the new cinema. It's an entirely different experience and an entirely different medium. We need to understand that we're going to get lost in the vast possibilities of the future worlds we conjure. The creative collaborators who incept these stories can assume that the audience is expected deeper understanding of every story world than ever before, and that we need to start building content with greater depth and broader intelligence. Even if we do not yet know the name of the capability of the platform the content will be carried on. The creators responsible for developing, producing, and delivering the content for the future of storytelling are going to have to learn entirely new skills of curation as well as creation to manage the enormous scale that these worlds and all the possible stories that they will be able to deliver. The Leviathan project was instigated in a partnership with Intel Labs, led by research scientist Tani Shalisky. The challenge was to imagine the future of storytelling within a single project. We chose Scott Westerfeld's Leviathan as the investigative world because it allowed us to develop stories inside a single ecosystem in a science lab beneath the whale. The original YA book triggered our backstory that imagined a 300-meter-long flying whale carrying a vessel with 60 military and science personnel aboard on its maiden voyage from London to Moscow in 1895 to deliver a fabricated animal to the Tsar. In our story, we never see the Leviathan take off or land, so we could then focus on the possibilities of this small, complex world. For the past 3 years, we've used the Leviathan to challenge accepted notions of cinematic narrative. In this VR space, we've created a chaos of narratives as a deep test of computation. In augmented reality, we've broken the tradition of the proscenium as the frame for story and literally flown the whale through the screen where she flies above and around a single viewer or an audience of 5,000 people. We've shown the ability for the viewer to control the whale with gesture, to change scale, to align virtual and real-world lighting so that the virtual whale interacts with the real light. We've shown that it's possible for an audience to experience a virtual object in real time without devices or hardware. World building, our mixed reality future, depends entirely on the quality of the content, the imagination of the creators in this new form, and on the ability of funders to find an effective funding model to support great content development. When making relevant VR/AR narratives, consider this approach. Use your head. Use your imagination. Don't be constrained by tradition. Be responsible. See the future through the human lens. That's our market, after all. Don't use old metaphors for a new medium. Think ahead. Form new art-science collaborations. Remember that content and technology have to advance in lockstep. Employ design fiction, employ world building, and question everything. Full immersion is deeply addictive, and no doubt there's a huge money to be made for pornographers and first-person shooter game companies. And that's the key. It's the ability for full immersion to take us places we cannot otherwise go and deeply explore our own immersive relationship to spherical narrative space that is so compelling. Using the full capabilities of the creative tools for entertainment to engage users in a place they will never be able to visit in person. Imagine hospitalized ill children engaging their own imaginations to create new immersive worlds that help them take on their disease. What if we could collaborate with all the experts who are intrinsic to urban development to build and explore a future city? What if an entire neighborhood was an impossibly large art exhibit of animated urban graffiti? Why not take a leap forward and start creating worlds that we'd really like to live in, and use these new platforms across all media and fiction to tell the most compelling stories about these worlds until they come true? Why not question everything and create real change?